we're back. We're so back. America is back. School shootings are back. You know, it is. That's just how it goes. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. That's how it happens out here. Vivek Ramaswamy is the closest you can get to a school shooter in all of the candidates across the board. Like, Blake Masters was the school shooting candidate, right?
This is designed to kill people. I'm Blake Masters, and I approve this message to kill people.
And Ramaswamy is carrying that torch. I mean, it's not that unique to, like, go to a town that Vivek Ramaswamy was about to be at and then experience a mass shooting, or, like, know that there is a mass shooting happening there. Because it's like, it happens everywhere. 2024 has only started 4 days ago, and we've already had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mass shootings. So, yeah, January 1st, there was 1, 2, 3, 4 mass shootings. One in Cicero, Illinois, and then one in Perry, Iowa. 3 dead in the Perry, Iowa one, and 4 dead in the Texas Orange one. You have January 1st, Los Angeles, California. 2 dead, 8 injured. 2 people were killed and 8 others were injured after a fight occurred at a New Year's party in downtown Los Angeles. You have January 1st in Springfield, Missouri. A security guard shot and injured 4 people at a bar due to a misunderstanding, which is, again, the most American way to do shootings. January 1st, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. A teenager was killed and 4 other people were injured in a drive-by shooting spanning a 6-block radius. January 1st, Orange, Texas. A man fatally shot 3 of his family members at a house before turning the gun on himself. January 2nd, Cicero, Illinois. 3 dead, 1 injured. A man fatally shot his girlfriend and her cousin and injured his infant son before killing himself. And then January 4th, Perry, Iowa. 1 dead, 3 injured. The 1 dead is the shooter himself. Multiple victims were shot, including at least 2 students and an administrator at Perry High School. Police have reported the shooter committed suicide. Security guards have guns in America? Come, brother. Barb Leahy. Security guards? Infants have guns in America. Of course security guards have guns in America. Everyone, monkeys have guns in America, okay? Like zoo animals. Like, there are so many guns in the United States of America that you can literally accidentally give a dog a gun, okay? I'm sure that if I were to look it up, there's probably at least 1 instance where a dog accidentally misfired on their owner. There are guns everywhere in this country, okay? There are guns basically flowing out of water fountains. It's less likely, it's harder to go to a place in the United States of America where there are no guns than a place where there are. In the United States of America, we have sexual intercourse with our guns. In the United States of America, we actually unironically marry our guns. That's true. There you go. Told you. Man shot dead after dog steps on hunting rifle's trigger. Called it. Man shot dead. German Shepherd was in the back of a car. The victim was in the front seat. January 26, 2023. That was last year. I told you. I didn't have to see it or read it. I just knew. Because why? You know why? Because that's a statistical probability. At that point, it's just statistics. It's a likelihood. Aren't something like 90% of the guns in the U.S. owned by like 7% of the population? I don't know what the exact population percentage is of people who own guns, but you're talking about people who own legal guns that we know of, or at least people that we know of that have guns. Yes, a lot of gun owners don't just have 1 gun. There are more guns in circulation in this country than there are people. However, a lot of gun owners don't just own 1 gun. A lot of gun owners also own an arsenal of guns, right? So there are a lot of arsenal owners or a lot of arsenal havers in this country. That part is true. The difference is you have to look at like what the normal gun ownership percentage is supposed to look like in a country. What is this? Guns aren't the problem. Disarming lawful owners only hurts democracy. Allowing law enforcement personnel to purchase prohibited weapons while not allowing private citizens is scary. Oh my God. No, guns are the problem. Okay? Guns are the problem. Without any regulation whatsoever, yes, gun ownership is ridiculous. There is no other argument on the planet. There's no other place on the planet where you make this argument. Okay? God damn it. Being an American is unironically a brain disease that is impossible to cure. Okay? The solution, of course, for many Americans with that kind of brain disease is purchasing more guns. 7% is bullshit per Gallup. Gun ownership in the U.S. 2020 was 32%. Look at America. Firearm ownership per 100 persons. The United States is at 120.5%, only followed after the Falklands Islands, okay, at 62%, and Yemen at 52%, New Caledonia at 42.5%, and then Serbia at 39.1%, Montenegro at 39.1%, don't mess with the Balkans, Canada at 34.7%. Like, no one comes near the United States of America. This is, of course, firearms per 100 persons, like firearms per capita, so guns in circulation. What I want to know is, like, what percentage of gun ownership is, like... Now, obviously, you understand why this number is so high in, like, Yemen or Serbia or Montenegro. I think you guys get that, right? So why is it so unimaginably high? It's not necessarily that Serbians are homosexuals. It's just that's what happens when you have, you know, war. I mean, look at the unregistered firearms. In the United States of America, you have 300, like, oh, wait, why is this is saying, like, all guns are unregistered, I think, right? Technically. Or something, because there's, what? America has 1 million registered firearms to 392? According to the Congressional Research Service, as of 2009, there were roughly twice as many guns per capita in the United States as there were in 1968, more than 300 million guns in all. It's such a classic Ameribrain take that if there's a problem, the solution is always more of the problem. Traffic, more lanes, gun violence, more guns. Yeah, it's America, okay? Queer people also engage in mass shootings from time to time. It's just very, very unlikely that the shooters are queer, but it can happen. It's the United States of America, baby. We got mass shooters of all different sorts, all different backgrounds, okay? Yeah, that's definitely a weird take. I mean, it's true. There was a trans school shooter, as you guys remember. It happens. Not likely or common, but it does happen. It can happen. This is a melting pot. It's the most American thing that can happen. Just less likely as we're a smaller percentage of the population. Exactly. It's just, access to weapons. That's it. I saw some gun owner chatters that are genuinely curious in the chat as to what the solution is since they can shoot recreationally. Could you explain to them the overall issue a bit and explain your solution? Yes. Licenses. Every gun in the country has to be registered. Every gun in the country has to have a license. Every gun in the country has to be tied to a number. And not only that, but also you can go and get a gun. However, you need to demonstrate your competence with a gun. You need to get trained. You need to show that you know how to handle a gun. And more importantly than that, you need to also show that you know how to safely keep a gun in your home. You need to be able to purchase a gun safe, for example, with a lock. This system operates all around the world, globally. One other example, or one other thing that I would add on to it is that you need to get a psych profile conducted before you are able to get a gun license. You need to also get 2 character witnesses at least, minimum. 2 character witnesses to be able to purchase a gun as well. And no, I don't care that would be used against like marginalized people or something like that. What do you mean? What if they're inherited? Can you drive your father's car that it was passed down to you without a license? No. You can't. It is illegal. I mean, you can, but it would be illegal, right? If you get caught driving your dad's car and you didn't swap over the registration to yourself after your dad passed away, and you're driving the car without a license, then yeah, you're going to get caught. If you get caught, you're going to get in trouble. Yeah, you would have to re-register your guns. I think the entry point to this conversation is and should be very similar to like the first thing, day one, first thing you should do for gun control in this country is to, have it resemble the structure that we have for cars. Cars are very deadly. It would be better if we had less cars in this country and we utilize public transit more. I feel the same way about guns as well. Guns are also deadly. It would be better if we have less guns in circulation. But if we were to implement like common sense gun regulation, common sense gun control is make it resemble the structure that we have for driver's licenses. Anyone can own a car. You get licensed to drive, not own. No, that's not. I don't think that's true. Yeah, like XQC lmao. Yeah, there's a reason why the divorce memes popped off. Your XQC is a great example of this. There's a reason why the divorce memes popped off and like the McLaren was split in half technically because he didn't have a driver's license, which is precisely the reason why he had to split the ownership. He had to split the ownership with someone who did have a driver's license. Dealerships won't sell you a car if you don't have a driver's license. Here's the thing. Technically, you can have a gun in this structure as well, just like you can drive a car without a driver's license. It's just illegal. So you're pointing to a way that like the law will not capture every single person, but that's not how you write laws. I've said this before. Nothing will make it so that there are zero casualties due to gun violence. The goal with any kind of responsible legislation is to, one, write it for the dumbest person in mind, and two, make it as hard to, as hard as possible to engage in illicit behavior, in criminal behavior. So yes, despite the fact that you can, in certain instances, buy a car without a driver's license, it still doesn't matter. Having a car legally is one thing, but using the car is an entirely other thing. And you can technically drive that car illegally, but if you get caught driving the car that you own illegally on a road, well, you're in trouble, right? And it's the same as buying a gun. Let's say you get a gun without a gun license, right? In this situation, ultimately, if you are caught transporting the gun in the same way that you would be driving the car, or if you're shooting the gun somewhere, okay, like at a range or even in your backyard, I guess, and police are called and they find that you are using the gun without a license, well, you're in trouble. But ultimately, you need a license, as far as I know, to register a vehicle. And you need to get car insurance in order to be able to drive a car in general, at which point you still need a license. There are many different avenues where you need a license to have a full-blown ownership of a vehicle and to be able to use it. You can drive a vehicle on your own property without a license or registration. You're missing the point. My point is that you can do more, and you should do more for licensing and registration of guns in general beyond a vehicle, because a car in and of itself has utility outside of just ending life. Stop dying on that hill. Yes, the hill that I'm dying on is the hill where I don't want random people to die. The hill that I'm dying on here is making reasonable gun control happen in this country. Yes, this is the hill I will die on. I think you will die on that hill before I will die on it if you are as much as a nutso gun owner as you present yourself online. I'm just saying. The statistical probability that you will die on that hill or many other hills or any hill or inside of your house is much higher than mine, I would say. Okay? But ultimately, like I said, cars are very deadly. Cars are terrifying. But cars also have utility. You do commerce with cars. You ride your car to work. You can't ride your gun to work, okay? Guns have one goal, and that is look cool, kind of like cigarettes, and also end organic life. That's it. I could probably drill a pretty good hole with a gun. Yeah, okay. Guns don't look cool. Americans just romanticize them. Yeah, I mean, it's a cultural thing. One point I always get met with when debating gun control and anti-side is that people would just start using knives or other unconventional weapons to do the same amount of killing. That's not true. That's simply not true. If knives were just as successful at killing a massive amount of people, then the American military would invade Iraq with knives instead of guns, okay? Militaries all around the world will be using knives. Someone should tell them. That's number one. Number two, America has worse knife crime than the UK. So we got that covered too. So that's another thing that you can remember. Remember that Vegas massacre by knife at the country festival? Neither do I. Yeah. I mean, mass knifing does happen in places like China and stuff. But again, it's severely limited. What's your opinion on the restriction of purchasing of knives? Like knife control? It entirely is dependent on what kind of knife we're talking about. If it's a machete, then it's totally valid to like have some level of restriction on that too. If it is a kitchen knife, then no. Like for cooking, then no. For those of you who don't know, we do actually have knife control, by the way. I remember in Turkey, for example, they have like butterfly knives are I think illegal, or they can't be longer than like your 2 fingers, I guess, like or however long this is, like give or take, something along those lines. Anyway, gravity knives are illegal. No fixed blades allowed in MA, for example. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have knife regulations to a certain degree. Not that it matters as much because, once again, the goal here is to make it as to limit the worst aspects of having a tremendous amount of guns in circulation, which is when you have an ease of access to an arsenal, when you have ease of access to weaponry that you can acquire without much limitation, you can just like go purchase a gun and then do a mass shooting, or you can purchase a gun and then later on do a mass shooting. Anyway, or the more likely aspect is in a nation crippled by mental illness, just like everywhere else, let's be real, you will go and purchase a gun, and then you'll fucking kill yourself with it, which is what a lot of people do. It's like 52% of the gun fatalities in this country are people that just eat their Glock for breakfast, lunch, and sometimes for dinner.
What do you say to people who think that there are too many mass shootings in the United States of America?
It's the fucking idiots that pull the trigger.
Yeah.
It's not the people that own the guns.
Right. What if the idiots that pull the trigger own the guns?
Hey, are you an idiot?
But should we make sure that the people who are idiots
Make sure of that.
you
You got to
have stricter gun laws?
Test to drive a car.
Do you think?
You don't have to have an IQ test to have a gun, do you?
Well, you actually have to take a test to drive a car. You need to like learn how to drive it safely to be able to drive it.
Did your mama teach you how to drive a car?
She did actually, yeah.
Actually, she did. Yeah. And how good a driver are you?
I'm a great driver.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
Why? What are you talking about?
Well, are you any good at shooting a gun?
What does one thing have to do with the other? I'm confused.
Because you took a test, and you think you're smart enough because you took a test.
Did you pass a driver's test to drive?
No. I'd learned to drive out in the fucking woods.
But you had to get a driver's license. You had to get a driver's license, right?
For what?
To drive a car.
Why do you need a driver's license to drive a car? Do you know how to drive a car?
You have to have one to drive a car, though.
That's
it's the law.
It's like Is this guy admitting that he drives without a license? Like, what's happening here? God, this is such a perfect video because, like, you see Dunning-Kruger pop off here in the biggest way, right? Here you have a profoundly arrogant man who thinks he's got it all figured out. He uses one of these like me. No driver's license or insurance required. Private, not for commerce use, private mode of travel. Peace on earth, goodwill towards men. Yeah. This is the most... He has one of those libertarian license plates. Sovereign citizens, baby. That's my favorite. Hey, it is safer to carry a weapon than trust the law to save you. Yeah, I know. America is bedlam. It is actually under attack. Crime is out of control, except no, it's not. I've told you this already. This is a big part of what I talked about for the past 2 years at this point. That, like, there is a crime panic that was instilled upon the population by mainstream news, local news in general, and this panic was greatly overblown. Here it is. Here is one of the consequences of said panic. 77% of Americans believe crime increased last year, according to a Gallup survey released last month. Yet homicides were down in 2023 significantly, and other forms of violent crime, rape, aggravated assault, and robbery are also set to see a decline according to preliminary FBI data. But it doesn't really matter, because even educated people who are running for office, like Cenk Uygur, who have dedicated their entire lives to covering politics and news from a progressive perspective, have fallen for the reactionary framing of crime. Will these people go back and look at the data and potentially change their minds, or will they double down in the most cult-like mentality, cult-like attitude possible? It's probably the second thing. Looking at the trends, at least, it's probably most likely the second thing and not the first. Don't care, still voting for Cenk, but just something to consider here. Even without mass shootings, people in households with guns are more likely to be victims of gun violence than people in households without. Yes. Once you get to a certain age, you'll make a reactionary heel turn too. I don't foresee myself doing that, because the reality is, I think I've gotten less reactionary over the course of many years. I've become more progressive. We can end this now. It's not too late. Hasan. Cenk has done it. You will too. Sure. I think it is likely for people to become more reactionary. People can become more reactionary as they get older, but that's not a rule. That's it. Oh, she's pressing buttons. Calm down. No! Anyway, guys, love you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.